Hello, my name is Les Brown, and I'd like to talk to you about 7 steps to control your financial destiny. I want you to take the time to listen, and I encourage you to listen to it again and again and again, because sometimes when you hear something at a different time, your life is in a different space, and you hear some things that you did not hear the first time, like going to see a movie that you've seen before. There's some things that you'll see, you say, whoa, I didn't see that the first time. So the same thing in expanding your consciousness and beginning to elevate the quality of your thinking. It's a process that you must review on a regular basis. That faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. But by your working and training your mind to serve you, you will accelerate the possibility of creating wealth in your life. And so controlling your financial destiny, the first step, which is major, that I talk about all the time, yes, and you know what it is, a mindset, a millionaire mindset. That takes a process. I encourage you to think about how much money you want to create. That's number one. Number two, what are you going to do with it? What's the purpose of it? Why is it that that's important to you? The other thing is writing it down and understanding that you must bring some value. What is it that you have? What is it that you're going to exchange in the marketplace in order to do that? I remember something I heard by Jim Rohn said, you don't get paid by the hour, you get paid for the value you bring to the hour. So you have to train your mind to serve you. Dr. Carter G. Woodson said, if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one. And so engaging in this process of training your mind. Well, how do I do that, Les? One of the things I encourage you to do that I did for years and still do today, train yourself to read 30 to 40 pages of something positive every day, to train your thinking. See, we can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on. By reading 30 to 40 pages of something positive every day, you're saturating your mind and you're overpowering the negative thoughts that psychologists say that we think over 87 to 90% of our negative thoughts every day that goes undetected by our conscious mind. So that's the value of reading something positive every day and listening to something every day that's positive that will train your thinking. Now, the next thing, not only is the mindset is important, but information. 2007, Time magazine said the computer is the person of the year. And people were puzzled by that. Why? Because for the first time in the history of the world, everyday people have access to information that wealthy people have. And that really makes a difference. There's a slogan I hear with some radio stations that said that information is power. No, information that is applied in your life, that's power. And so you now have access to information that can help you to build and design the kind of life that you want, that you can learn anything that you so desire. You could just Google it, and there it is, available at your fingertips. The next thing is network. The man who's still around today that I love is Dennis Kimbrough. He said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. In order to create wealth and control your financial destiny, it's important that you have a network of friends that you can learn from, that you can grow from, friends that can help you to begin to access parts of yourself that you don't know right now, friends who have contacts and relationships and resources that you don't have, people that you can learn from, that you can grow from. You want to develop a network of friends. My mother used to say, if you run around with 9 broke people, I guarantee you, you'll become number 10. So you want friends that have more than you, people that will challenge you, that will bring some value into your life. The next thing, not only a network of friends that's important, but dedication. See, if you are casual about your goals and dreams, they will never happen. You have to dedicate yourself. How you spend your time tells me who you are. See, there's a difference between working from 9 to 5 to working from 5 until you faint. You've got to be willing to dedicate yourself to do whatever is required. A.L. Williams had a saying that I love very much. All you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all you can do. And so in creating your financial destiny and controlling it, it requires dedication. The next thing is system. There's no secret to success. There's a system. And you must learn the system. A lot of people say, well, I'm not a detailed person, or I never worked for a major corporation. That's what I said. I gave myself an excuse in the past for not learning the things that I needed to learn. And I never forget what my mentor said. He said, Brownie, all of us are born the same way, dumb, naked, and speechless. You can learn. Creating wealth, controlling your financial future, it requires a system. It's something you can't wing. It's something you can't do by flying by the seat of your pants. You must learn to put together a system. Have people around you who have the skills and the knowledge and the ability to put together systems that you can execute that will allow you to control your financial future. The next thing is energy. If you're casual about your dream, you will end up a casualty. It requires energy. You've got to be fired up. I call it hunger. You've got to be hungry. And when you are willing to put forth the energy, when you're willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have, the energy that you must invest is above and beyond that which is commonly accepted. And most people are low energy, flat energy. You've got to work on yourself. As you think about creating wealth, I want to ask you something. What's your strategy for being here? You got to have a strategy. See, in order to create wealth, it requires a lot of energy, a lot of work on your part, dedication on your part. So that means that you want to get a physical checkup, you want to exercise, you want to set aside time that you're going to take care of you so that you will have the energy and be able to put in the time necessary to accumulate wealth that will allow you to control your financial destiny. And the next thing is managing your time. That is managing yourself. Time is important. And so where are you putting your time? How are you using your talents, abilities, and skills? That's important to know, because whatever you're doing with your time, that tells me who you are. And so it's important to prioritize what's important to you. Because when you look at the end of the day, all of us have 24 hours. And so you've got to ask yourself, what's important? What is it that I need to do? One of the things that I encourage you to do is get a list of something that you know that if you do these things, and I'll say, let's say get a list of 7 things that you know that these are 7 action steps that will move you in the direction of your dream. Now, when you get ready to go to sleep at night, think about what is it you want to get out of the day that's coming up. The next day, most people are just trying to get through the day. You want to get something out of the day. And so you list 7 things that's important to you that would move you closer to your dream. You write those things down the night before. You read those things before going to sleep. And when you get up the next morning, you read those action steps and you start working immediately on those action steps. And don't do anything else until you have checked them all off to make sure that you've got that done. If you make a habit of doing that, of taking the 7 most important action steps that will move you closer to your dream, of the 7 steps of creating financial independence, if you do that, you'll be surprised at how fast you'll be able to reach your goal. You'll be surprised at how fast you'll be able to accumulate wealth and control your financial future. You have something special. You have greatness within you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's a scripture that when I first heard it and read it, I just said, "Oh boy, that's cold-blooded." I couldn't wrap my mind around it. It didn't have any compassion in it. He that hath shall get, and he that hath not, even that he has, shall be taken away. Oh my God. You saying he that hath, the person who hath, they will get, and the person who don't have, even that little bit they have, shall be taken away? That doesn't seem right. But there's a question. He that hath what? Vision. People without vision perish. Ambition, drive, a willingness to work, stubbornness, perseverance, faith that roars so loudly it doesn't give you an opportunity to hear the doubts that you have within yourself. You have those qualities, you will get. You have those qualities, you restore everything you lost and more. You have those qualities, angels will make room for you. Come. Let's intervene here, because he won't quit, she won't stop. We've done everything and they won't stop. Come, we got to intervene now. And then let's go find a wimp, somebody who's stopped, somebody who's allowing themselves to be consumed by fear. They're weak. Yeah, because God has not given them a spirit of fear, but of power. They ain't got no power. They're consumed in fear. They can't even think straight. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of a sound mind. This place where you are, where I am, this place, we've been picked out to be picked on. This place, we are more than conquerors. This place is a testimony, no testimony. This place, no guts, no glory. This place, faith not tested can't be trusted. This faith will find a way. Yeah. We need to know that. We need to saturate ourselves with words that will empower us right now. Our children are watching. Our children are not okay. There's an article, Google it. Our kids are not okay. The suicide rate among children, teenagers, and younger, soaring because they're watching us. See, how we live our lives, Jim Rohn said this, how we live our lives, it can be a warning or an example. Did you hear me? How we live our lives, our children are watching. It will be a warning or an example. A warning of what not to do, or an example of what to do when tragedy and interruptions and crises show up. Therefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, that having done all to stand. This is our time to stand. This is our time to be actively engaged in this thing called life. Our children are watching us. There are generations yet unborn that are depending on us. There are people who gave their lives, like a John Lewis said, create some good trouble. It's our time. It's our time. You have something special. God is on your side. If God is for you, who can be against you? You got a winning team. I'm looking for, and I'm on a mission for people who can hear me. If at some point in time when you're a little kid or a grown person, you're going through some stuff and you heard my voice. And the reason you heard it, because what's in me is also in you. And the reason you responded and came out of the darkness into the light, because there's a calling on you to do the same thing. You and I are cut from the same cloth. We're branches of the same tree. If my message and my method and my approach resonates with you, I'm not talking about my hairstyle. My kid didn't play hairstyle and I'm kid, no. I'm talking about my message. And you have a message in you. You have a story in you. You like to help people, the millions of people who need to hear a multitude of voices. I want you to put voice in the comment section. Put voice in the comment section. And allow us to introduce you to the Power Voice system that teaches you how to tell your story, that teach you how to create an experience with your voice and your story, to transform people individually and collectively. Allow me to mentor, to coach you, to bring out the greatness in yourself and to bring out the greatness in others. If that's your calling, I love to tell you, and I will always remind you, a job is what you get paid for. A calling is what you're made for. If it's your calling, put voice in the comment section. If you can hear me in your heart, I'm not challenging your ability to hear with your ears, because you wouldn't still be here with me. I don't have any prints translating my words. So if you're still here, the only reason you're listening, because what's in me, it's in you. You and I are cut from the same cloth. We are branches of the same tree. It's time to make a decision. Put voice in the comment section. We don't know how much time we have left, do we? Michael Jackson said, "This is it." And it was. Okay. Put voice in the comment section. Live each day as it were your last. Because what we learned from the coronavirus, one day it will be. Toby Gatson, we graduated together at Booker T. Washington High School in Miami, 1963. Wow. Classmate had COVID-19 and he kicked COVID's butt. Toby, I'm so happy for you, brother. So happy. Prayed hard for you, but you always been a fighter since we were in high school. Boy, I tell you, you and Larry Littles, who played for the Miami Dolphins, boy, we went to school. We would miss school because we were characters. We were always clowning. We always wanted to know, what will we do next? We came to see each other for cafeteria and physical education. Oh my goodness. Oh boy, that's back in the day. I hear young people today, these millennials, talking about back in the day. They don't know anything about back in the day. I got t-shirts older than them. But at 75, my goal is to finish strong. At 75, my goal is to train the best speakers on the planet. At 75, my goal is to find people who are hungry to make an impact with their lives, who are hungry to learn
how to use and access their power voice, who are hungry to live a life that will outlive them. Yeah, you forget your years will forget you. And I want to leave this with you. As you look at your goals, be stubborn about your goals. Be stubborn. Don't give up on your goals. You will fail your way to success. Don't give up on your goal. Know your vitamin, as Suzanne de Pass would say. Don't give up on your goal. Be stubborn about your goals. Be flexible and versatile. Ask for help. A lot of people won't do that because of ego, edging God out, because a lot of people, as a result of pride cometh before a fall. Ask for help. Not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. You don't have to figure it out. Get started. Do what you can with what you have, and God will do what you can.
I want to ask you to think about your goals and dreams in 3 areas. Number 1, what's some personal goal that you have for someone that you love? My first major goal was to buy my mother a home. That's what I wanted to do. I remember walking around these big, beautiful mansions before catching the bus going back to Liberty City in Overtown in Miami, and said, Mama, she said, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. Let me have somebody that you like to do something for that's personal to you. Raise your hands, please. Very good. I want you to think about that. I'm going to share with you some strategies how you can make that happen. Next thing is, I want you to think about your financial freedom number. And when you reach that number, when you earn that amount of money, that you will feel a sense of relief. They take a lot of stress out of your life. They give you more time for yourself and for your family. And what that number is, if you wrote it down or if you're thinking about it, I want you to multiply it 100 times. And the reason that I want you to do that, I have found in my own life that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they have done what I did for the first part of my life. Aim too low and hit. And then I want you to think about your social contribution. I believe that we live in the greatest country in the world that allows us to live a life of contribution. Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. One of the goals I have is to reduce the number of women who die from breast cancer. My mother was a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. One of the goals I have, every time I get on stage, I tell men that I was diagnosed 15 years ago with prostate cancer, given a 2 to 3 year prognosis. One of the things I believe doctors should never tell someone they're terminally ill. What they should say is that my ability to help you has terminated.
So people are looking for ways, and I think it's important that you stay in your lane. I know what I do. I speak and I train speakers, and you help people to have events that will allow them to monetize their dream. You do the marketing, you help get the butts and the eyeballs in front of the computer, and help them to begin to take their success and their profits to another level. I want to ask you, how did you get into this?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. COVID was a part of this too, because for most speakers, as you well know, Les, it was all about trying to find someone who would host you on their stage. And that was the speaking game before COVID, right? Everyone went to a hotel or a conference center, or if they're as good as you, a stadium, right? And in order to speak to these massive crowds and impact as many people as possible. But when COVID hit, all of a sudden, as everyone well knows, all of a sudden, we couldn't meet anymore.
Right.
And at that time, I was in the middle of an event. We were about to have an event at a hotel room. We had all these tickets sold, and no one could come. The hotel called us and they said, you can't have your event here.
Wow.
And you got to understand, when you have an event, for those of you who are speakers or who desire to be a speaker, someone who puts an event on, they're spending tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, or in some cases, millions of dollars to put the event on, right? And so before COVID, no one was able to do this. There was a very small set of people who were willing to make that kind of investment in order to have an event. Well, we had put a bunch of money down, and all of a sudden, we had to repay all the tickets. And so I said to my partner, I said, well, why don't we try and host the event on Zoom, online? And he laughed at me. He said, nobody's going to sit on Zoom for 2 or 3 days to have an event. That's absurd. You can't have a 2-day long event. And I said, well, we're going to give the tickets back anyways. So we might as well try. And if they don't like it, we're going to refund anyways. So let's see how we can orchestrate virtually what we were trying to do live and in person before. And so we did it. And the first event, Les, we ever tried, we had our biggest sales day ever.
Wow.
And we were like, wait a second, how is this possible? Because they actually sat through it, and we were actually able to hold their attention. And we thought, I wonder if this would work again. And so we did it again, and it worked again. And so I was like, I wonder if it would work with other audiences. And so we started doing all these virtual events. And so now I'm in rooms like in masterminds with different leaders who it's the hottest topic among the highest echelon of people in the speaker and even marketing world right now. Everyone's doing events because no longer do you have to pay hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to do an event. You just have to gather the people on Zoom and do the event there. And it's changing the game.
It most certainly has changed the game. They're even doing Broadway plays online.
Amazing.
Come on. And so we've gone from brick and mortar to click and order. People can, in the comfort of their home.
No, you didn't. Go ahead. Go ahead and drop that.
Yeah, I had to drop that on you up in here.
Yes, sir.
All right. So people have a chance to be able to educate themselves, to acquire knowledge, to increase their value in whatever industry that they're in, to create a level of unity, even though they're geographically separated from their partners, from their organization, from their culture. And you do all the work that's necessary to put the eyeballs in front of the computer. Yep. Tell us about your process, and who is it that would be interested in partnering with you so that you can do for them what you're doing for me?
Well, look, I think everyone listening has now seen someone on the internet do a virtual event. If you're paying attention, you're probably seeing advertising about events. Tony Robbins just did a massive online event he called the Challenge. The great speakers, or people who desire to be great speakers, even people with small audiences, Les, are now doing events. And it's not a lack of awareness, right? I like to say, for speakers, if you're a speaker or an aspiring speaker, it's not a lack of desire that's stopping you. It's a lack of direction. And so the direction that we give is there's really 4 parts to doing your own event, right? And the first thing is, I found, and Les, I'd love you to jump in on this, but I found for people who are trying to set big goals, because how many of you would agree 6 figures in a day, that's a big goal? Or 7 figures in a day, that's a big goal, right? The first time, Les, I just got to tell you this, the first time I was with a client and we did $1 million in a day. I want to show you what that looked like. Let me show you what that looks like when you do $1 million in sales in a single day. Here's what it looks like. You would think that when I got off that call, that I was jumping around and running around and screaming in my house. I wasn't. Here's what I looked like. Just my head in my hands just sat there, and I was quiet. Because when you do $1 million day, you've got one question twirling around and around in your head. And here's the question.
What?
What have I been doing my whole life?
Whoa.
Think about all the time that's wasted, all the effort expended to get results significantly less than $1 million in a day. And when you realize, and so some people think, Les, when I say this, they think there were thousands and thousands of people on. No, there were 164 people on that call.
Wow. You know, they say opportunity knocks on every door, but I believe, and you believe, no. Opportunity stands by silently waiting for you to recognize it. Ladies and gentlemen, you just joining us. This is Joe Aaron, and Joseph has a formula. It's tried, it's proven. He takes all the guesswork out of it. And if you're ready to go to that next level, if you want to begin to earn money on steroids with your next event and the kind of experience that he creates, where people want to be a part of it and have their event and be able to transform their lives, increase their effectiveness and impact, he's the person that can get the job done. Tell them about how they can do that.
Well, listen, many times people will come on something like this, with you, Les, and, you're so inspirational. I was literally talking to a friend today, and their wife is struggling through cancer, and they're walking around, and he spends an hour a day as he walks down the road listening to recordings of you, because you've inspired and touched so many lives. And what I found,
when we get through talking, I want his number, because I want to call and talk to him and his wife.
That's very kind. I'll do that. Many times, I think people who feel a calling, a sense of purpose on their lives, will often imagine themselves as they fulfill their purpose standing on a stage. And they can see the crowd, and they can feel the desire to impart something through their voice into that crowd. And so often I find that those speakers are waiting for permission.
Yes.
And I came to tell you today, you don't need permission anymore, because you can make your own stage.
Come on now.
The world has changed. You don't need permission. You just need to make a decision. And the decision is, I'm going to get my message out. I'm not going to wait on somebody else, Les, to tell me that it's okay for me to get my message out. I'm going to get my message out. I'm not going to wait for an invitation from somebody else to get my message out. I'm just going to get my message out. I'm not going to wait till everything is aligned and the economy is perfect to get my message out. No. Now is the time for you to get your message out. And so if you're serious and not just curious about getting your message out by literally creating your own event, which you can host on Zoom, you probably talk to grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, or the kids on Zoom. With that same technology, with the right system and the right process, you can now host, for many people, 6 and even 7-figure days serving your audience at the highest level. And so Eileen and I, my business partner, what we've done is, because so many people are unclear, like, what exactly do I do? We put together a 5-day training. Not just about, it's an hour a day. We have Q&A and stuff like that. We put together a 5-day training called $1 Million Speaker Challenge. And at the $1 Million Speaker Challenge, you're going to get 2 hours a day, step-by-step breakdown of exactly what you need to do so that you can create your own event. It's time for you to get out of the shadows and into the light. You don't need permission. You just need a decision. So I want to welcome you to make the decision today. How many of you are all in on becoming the speaker that you've been called to be, on doing the events of your own so that you can get your message out? How many of you are done waiting on permission and you're ready to go all in? Typically events like this, Les, if you came live, it'd be like $1,000 to come to an event like this. But because it's virtual and you can just do it on Zoom, it's just $97. Is that a good deal?
That's a great deal.
Yep.
My uncle said there's nothing as painful as an untold story buried in your soul.
Yes, sir.
This is a chance for people to get their message out. But there's something else you're saying here. There's no secret to success. There's a system, and you have perfected the system that will allow people, and have already done it, to earn 6 to 7 figures doing an event.
We're seeing
this together.
Yes, sir. We're seeing pastors execute it. We're seeing newbie speakers doing it. We're seeing new entrepreneurs doing it. We're seeing influencers doing it. As a matter of fact, my business partner, Eileen, a lot of people think, well, I'm not sure what to say, or I'm not sure what I would sell. guys, we've experienced all of this. There's a step-by-step process to decide, what am I going to sell? There's a step-by-step process to fill the room so that people are there on your Zoom room. My business partner, Les, the first event that she ever did, she had less than 10 people in the room and she did a 6-figure day. So you don't need it to be massive, right? You just need to be executed according to the system. So if you're ready to go all in on executing the system that's already proven, all you got to do is go to less4speakers.com. That's less, like Les Brown, for speakers in the plural.com. And when you go to that site, you just scroll down the page, click the link. You can buy a recording and just get the recording. That's $500. Most people opt to go virtual and it's just $97. And if you come live, we're going to do live Q&A with you. We're going to be there to walk you through all the steps, answer all your questions. And, you know, it's just time. It's time for, you and I were talking, Les, and there's something you told me and you're like, there's too many messengers out there who are silent.
Yes. Evil prevails when good men and women do nothing. But there's something else you said. You were about to go into, and I apologize for interrupting you, 4 very important steps that's a part of this process. And you were about to get into it, and I distracted you. Talk to them about those 4 steps.
Yeah, step 1 is, we say, decide. Mm-hmm. And many people struggle to make a decision. And the reason they struggle to make a decision is because I found that I didn't even understand, Les, what a decision was and why it's such a struggle to make one. In people's hearts, especially people in your audience, how many of you would love to impact other people's lives the way that Les Brown has impacted your life, right? Well, the first step is always a decision. But we struggle, and it's like, why do I struggle, Les, with making a decision to make the impact that I feel called to make? Why do I delay? Why do I make excuses? Why do I struggle to go all in? And the answer is I realize that a decision, the word decision, comes from a Latin word. Is it okay if I share some Latin here, if we get a little deep?
Please go up in there.
So the Latin root of decision is the word, you ready for it?
Yes.
Incision. And we all know what incision means. Because if that doctor comes up in your office or in your doctor's room and he says, I want to make an incision, you're like, oh no, you don't, doctor. You don't touch this body of perfection, and I don't want to get cut nowhere, right? Nobody wants to get cut, right? The word incision is the root. It's decision, which means to cut off. Why am I saying this? Because when you decide to do one thing, you are also simultaneously deciding not to do an infinite number of other things, because you are a creator made in the image of God. And so you could decide to do anything. But when you make the decision, you feel tension because you feel like you're losing something. But the paradox of truth is that you must decide to give focus to one thing in order to truly succeed. And so step 1 is just to make the decision, Les.
And I single, and my whole body will be full of light. What's
Amen.
number 2?
Number 2 is filling the room. Many people struggle. They're like, what do I do exactly to fill the room? And so we have a system, it's the fill the room system for the perfect virtual event blueprint. And once you have the system for filling the room and like the step-by-step process, all you do is run the play. And once you can run the play, it really doesn't matter. We usually will start you doing a smaller event just to test everything out. And you may only get 20, 30, 50 people there, right? And it's like, it's okay. Many of our clients will get 20, 30, 50 people there and do 6 or multiple 6 figures on their first try. Would it be okay if you got a little war chest first and then you're able to build off that? So that's step 2. It's like fill the room. And everybody thinks, man, once I can fill the room, I'm good to go. But I'm going to be honest with you, Les, and you know this as well as I do. Sometimes they think if they fill the room, they can talk real good and then they're going to make some sales. And the reality is there's a very specific journey you need to take your clients through in order to help them go all in with you to the next step, whatever it is that you're going to sell, right? And so figuring out the offer and figuring out how to orchestrate your event to help people make the decision, whether it's good for them or not good for them for the end of the event, is key. And so that's what we call hosting the event. The whole process of hosting, not an event purely for motivation, although everybody, even if they don't buy, they're going to love it, right? The way we orchestrate it is buy or don't buy. they're going to be changed and transformed as a result of the experience. But typically 20 to 30% of the audience, when done right, will purchase your product or service at the end of that event. That's called hosting, and that's step 3. So first we had decide, then we had fill, then we had host the event, and lastly we have what's called post event. After the event, many of the people are going to want to join your program. There is a specific strategic process for how to collect the money at the end. Les, I've literally had clients who've had hundreds of people who apply at the end of their event, but then because of the way they, well, how can I say it? Messed up the system on the back end, they ended up with 5 or 10 or 20. You're like, oh my gosh, how could you have 100 people wanting to buy and then only 20 people actually buying? And the reason is there's a system, right? And so we've perfected the system over countless events. I don't know how many events we've done, but a lot. So that finally, we know exactly how to execute post-event. Once the event is over, help as many people as are ready, willing, and able, and are a good fit, join your program. For those of you who are like, but Joe, I don't know what to sell. Don't worry about that. We'll show you how to solve that problem in the 5-day challenge.
Joe, you're taking all the guesswork out of it. And you're helping people to begin to monetize their dream and stay in their lane and let the operational process, the system that you have put together, leverage that in their behalf to put more moolah in their pocket. That's a wonderful thing.
I was homeless, Les, 3 times trying to fulfill my vision. I was serving a youth nonprofit near East St. Louis, Missouri, and started it from scratch and was serving hundreds of kids. But one of the problems I kept running into is I kept running out of money. And whether we like it or not, many times I'll talk to speakers and they're like, but Joe, I don't really care about the money. I just really want to help a lot of people. But the reality is that your income, your impact, and your influence are all connected. I would call them, they're in a codependent relationship. Your income will affect your influence. Your influence will affect your impact. And so many times we don't want to care about the incomes. We're like, I'm just about the impact. But if you bring the money in, you're able to then pay for the distribution of your message at a wider scale in order to impact more people. Unless many people don't recognize the codependence of that relationship, and so they're not able to get their message out at the level that that they'd really like to. And it's only because they're missing the understanding of that codependence. And so I'm on a mission to help people multiply movements that matter. And if your movement matters, you're going to need capital. How do I know? Because I went homeless 3 times trying to do it without money, right? Your movement matters. Then you not only have a desire, you have an obligation to make as much income as you can to grow your influence and impact more people than you ever thought possible. And the best, fastest, most successful way to do that in 2022 is with virtual events.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, I'm talking with a gentleman who I have a strategic partnership with, and I'm encouraging you to do the same thing if you want to get your message out and be able to have a large audience and not just provide a venue for sharing information, but being able to create an experience that will transform people individually and collectively. And when it comes to putting on a virtual event, no one does it better than Joe and Kathleen. Y'all got get the butter from the duck. That's what I'm talking about.
So I wonder, Les, who's made a decision? If you're listening to this right now, have you made a decision? Legit. Sometimes, Les, I found myself in stages of my life where I lied to myself and I told myself I was serious about it, but I didn't take the step. And the step is scary. And the step right now is really simple. It's just go to less4speakers.com.
Now, when you say 4 speakers, you're talking about the number 4 or F-O-U-R?
Less4, F-O-R, less4speakers, right? And we'll have a link here so that you can click it too. Less4speakers, F-O-R, speakers in the plural.com. Because less is for speakers. Les is on a mission to help speakers get their voice magnified and multiplied, because we've got a world to change, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we do. And it's something that Steve Jobs said. He said, the storyteller is the most influential person in the world. Storytellers are able to create a shift in the consciousness of people, to be able to penetrate the culture and to create a culture of love and harmony and people coming together, standing together, and creating a healing for the planet. And this is the time for you, all of us, those of you who feel like, I've got a story. There's a movement that I believe in, and I want to use this platform to take me to that next level, to reach greater numbers of people. And nothing does it better than the system that Eileen and Joe have put together, and that's why I'm a part of them. And this is why I put my name and reputation on the line for them, because they get the job done. They get the butter from the duck.
And you got to get that butter from the duck. You don't want the duck leaving with this butter.
No.
Les, thank you so much. It's been such an honor serving your audience. Anything else I can answer for the audience for you?
Well, some people ask, well, what does it cost? How do I open up the relationship? Because it's about partnerships today. People come together, collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. How do people get involved and be able to leverage your knowledge, experience, and your achievements for themselves?
Yeah, I think one of the success principles for those of you who for example, I was in a room this past weekend, right near Las Vegas, and everyone in the room, Les, had paid $150,000 to be in that room.
Whoa.
Okay. So it was high-level achievers, people who were getting their message out. If I told you their names, many of you would know their names, because they're serious, not just curious, about making the impact they feel called to make. And one of the things I learned from the men in that room, he talks about immersion. And one of the success principles, wherever you're at in your life, you may not be in a place where you can pay $150,000 to get in that room. But the success principle that everyone in that room understood and was willing to pay $150,000 for was that if I could get in the room with other people who are succeeding at a high level and immerse myself in their thinking, instead of thinking my own thoughts, what if I could get immersed in the thinking of other people who are operating at the level that I want to operate at? And so the principle of immersion, I would say, is the first thing that I would recommend to everyone. And one of the ways you can immerse yourself into becoming a speaker who can host their own events and do big numbers, right? As many of our clients are doing 6, some of them 7 figures, some of them multiple 7 figures in a day. The way to do that is immerse yourself, to get in the room. Somebody say, get in the room.
Get in the room.
Right? And so we're not asking you for $150,000 to get in this room, but we want people who are serious and not just curious. And that's why we said, you know what? We're not going to charge $1,000 like you do when you come to a live event. We're just going to charge $97. And when you come to this room, you get to immerse yourself. Eileen and I are in there. It's not just us though. The network of other influencers, leaders, and people who are passionate about learning the skill, they're in the room too. And it gives you an opportunity to immerse yourself in that room, get your questions answered so that you can start shifting your beliefs, start shifting your mindsets, start shifting your skill sets so that you can execute on the play that is, again, the most successful play that's out there. Les, when I was in that room of 150, there were 13 or 15, I don't remember exactly, 13 or 15 of us all in that room. 95%, there's only one person I can think of in that entire room who was not doing virtual events. It is the play.
Yes. This has been a $1 billion industry, and now it's evolving to a $1 trillion industry rapidly. So those of you who are watching, those of you who are ready to leverage this system that Joe and Eileen have put together and takes all the guesswork out of your being able to do a very successful virtual event, this is the opportunity. This is the time. Now's the time to take advantage of that and put your success on steroids and begin to leverage earning 6 to 7 figures at a limited time span and using the system virtually. It's exciting. and you got to be hungry